All right guys, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we're going to be working on the 5.0 swapped S14. I got it was ever running before we put it in the car, but I took it out and I tore it apart. We sealed it up. We got the distributor on it. We got the fire and autocorrect. We got a brand new 2-barrel carburetor on it, and now we have a fuel system for it. We still need to wire it up in the car to where it's on a switchboard, meaning that you just flip a couple of switches, one for the dizzy, one for the fuel pump, and the thing cranks up. So there's still a good bit of work to be done, but the thing is running in the car. We got a drive shaft for it. The build itself is progressing very well, so I just wanted to give you guys an update and show you how it's going. All right, so if you guys can see, let me move this. The reason we have these headers facing forward now is because there was no viable way for me to get that steering shaft to fit there and also have the exhaust flipped away to go down. So what I'm gonna plan to do is put the same pipe back on here, and I'm gonna cut it and bring it right out to the fender, or I might just cut it and route it through a hole right down through there and bring it out underneath the fender. I might go underneath the fender just because I don't want to cut holes into an S14 fender, even though these things are not like rare. You can buy new fenders for them, but same thing we're going to do on this side. I'm probably going to do a battery relocation kit and put the battery in the trunk, but even if I wanted to keep the battery here, I think it wouldn't be enough space for me to do that. And then I'd have to lift the battery tray up and cut a little hole in to let the exhaust go down, and then just point it to the side, because we don't need no crazy exhaust on this thing for a 2-barrel carburetor. Regulator. This is a carburetor fuel pressure regulator. I have an EFI pump on it, and I already set this to 6 pounds. So after 6 pounds, the pressure feeds backwards, which I have to deal with by ordering myself a regulator that can maintain 6 pounds and also send back to the tank. This is not a bypass regulator. This is a dual feed regulator, and there is a big difference. Let me explain it. This is the in for the regulator. This is an out, and this is an out. But if you send this out back to a tank that it can't build pressure, you won't get any pressure out of this. The other regulator I'm gonna buy has an in, an out, and then what's called a bypass. Once the in feeds in and then enough pressure comes out, you set it with this, whatever excess pressure would come out the other side. If you were to try that with this regulator, you would get no pressure whatsoever. That's why I had to block off the other out, and which in, it's labeled out right there. So I'm definitely gonna have to get a bypass one. I think Holley makes them for about 60 bucks, and I want bypass because there's an EFI pump in the tank, and I've already had an issue with this pump that I have here, where once enough PSI of pressure builds, there's a little bypass hole right here on the pump, and that starts spewing out fuel once it reached the desired pressure. So I've had this thing started up in the past couple of days. Sounds really good. I'm gonna let you guys hear it in a few minutes. We have all the vacuums plugged up, the vacuum advance on the distributor is hooked up properly. Not sure what the timing is right now, nor do I care. Probably once I put a radiator in it, get the exhaust sorted out, we'll let it idle, and then we'll figure out what the timing is, and also adjust the carburetor properly so it can run to the best of its ability. Alrighty, I know this looks crazy as hell, but it's just so I can get the exhaust out the hood, and when I start it, I don't get burnt to shit trying to hear this thing start. So let me explain to you guys what's going on here. One wire, positive wire, coming from the distributor, going to the battery. We have the negative cable running from the chassis, going over to the battery there. Negative cable from a fuel pump. We're gonna put that in some fuel. And then the only thing you're gonna need to do is take the positive wire from the starter, touch it to the battery, and essentially the entire thing should just come to life. Alrighty, let us try this without dying in the process. Give it a few pumps of fuel. There you go. Sounds healthy as ever. And I think she needs more fuel. Alrighty, I had to go get more fuel. And I don't think I have to tell y'all not to do this at home, but don't do this at home. But yeah, that's how we're gonna run this. Okay, now we shall run some fuel to the carburetor, and y'all will see what I mean when I say once it builds 6 psi of pressure or fills the bowl. And the bowl could hold a good much amount of fuel too, but once it fills it, oh, there it is. You see it, fuel just will spray right out the top of the fuel pump. But let us now wipe the explosive fuel off my damn hand. Give the carburetor a few pumps. There you go. Back to life. As you guys have just heard, this thing cranks up very, very easily. Fill the bowl with fuel, few pumps of the throttle, touch the starter to a live battery, rolls right over. The next video, what we're gonna do is we're gonna get all the interior put back in. We're really gonna push this build along a long way. I actually stripped it down this far. All the stuff was sitting right in it. No more fuse box, no more anything. I'm just gonna rest the dash back on and put 1 or 2 screws in it. Also, I need to get some wires in through one of the grommets because I'm gonna put a switchboard probably right where in the center console, and it's just gonna be for fuel, distributor, starter, very easily. I'm just gonna run a positive from the battery to the fused switchboard and we should be good there. But this is gonna come along very, very quickly. Also underneath this thing, we have a Mustang T5. We need to get, it's just sitting in the factory S14 brace. I'm actually gonna have to lower that, cut it and adjust it to where it's bolted into a brace. Then we're gonna need to take the measurement of the drive shaft because we have the T5 drive shaft going into one end and then we have the S14 drive shaft. So what I'm gonna do is I have both drive shafts. I'm just gonna measure the full length and then take the drive shaft to a shop down here and tell them what full length I need. I need the gearbox end, the input shaft on one end and the S14 end on the next. So we have good bit of work to do to this thing. And then, like I said, I'm probably just gonna go through that hole for this exhaust and then cut a hole on that side, go down for the exhaust. And we should be good to go. All right, guys, as you've just seen, this thing cranks up really, really too easily. We need to get some progress going on this build. Get that exhaust sorted out to where we can leave this thing running and flames are not gonna burn our arms off. Put a radiator in this thing. We need to put the brakes back together, interior back together. So many small things need to be done on this build, and we're finally going to be cranking away on this thing much more frequently now that the 4-valve swap is essentially in the stage where it's running and driving really well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Always remember, don't drift without your dreams, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.